And now from insurance industry, we will move to another area, and I would like to welcome the students or invite the students of the associate professor, Ivan Polášek. He will talk about AI across the software life cycle.
Prejdeme teda na Work Package 6, kde je hlavnou témou AI and software.
We will talk about Work Package 6. We will talk about AI across the software life cycle. And in this work package, we would like to create models and prototypes for a higher efficiency of software development, and also would like to attract more partners for cooperation, and including students. It's, I think, also in the KPIs, not only as not only master students of master programs, but also bachelor students. Not bachelor, but PhD students. And we would like to present to you what we have done, what we have started, and some parts that have already been completed. We would like to present it to you. So it will be about modeling, refactoring, and testing in AI support, but also pure software engineering.
Ešte technická poznámka.
Just a technical comment. Since we have 20 minutes for 8 presentations, well, you can, obviously do the maths. I would suggest okay, so you can use Slido, and you can put your questions there, and maybe after the coffee break, those 20 minutes later, we could answer them. Please just write your name, for example, Victor, and question, so that we can answer all the questions after the presentation. Well, they received 5 minutes. Well, they can do the math, and now obviously they only have 2 minutes each.
Today we will talk about large language models and vision language models that can be used in some software modeling applications. So next slide. Oh, okay, thank you. So we will try to solve this problem. So we have some UML model, class diagram model in some raster image like PNG or JPEG, and we will try to vectorize it to some language or human readable or language model readable view, for example, plenty UMLs. So it's a computer vision task, structure, image structure to structure. So we have done this pipeline where we have a data set for 600 images approximately, and we have output. Is it plenty UML per image? And also we have 2 evaluation tracks. It's a scale and quality. So scale, it's we'll try this full data set to convert to this plenty UML structured output. And the quality, we have labeled some images to, we have labeled 14 images to the plenty UML by human evaluator. So we have used these cloud models and one local baseline model. It's a very simple and small in scale of large language models model. So it's 7 billion parameters. So, and it doesn't make any consistent output. But GPT 5.2 and Gemini 2.5 less did it. And so here is simple pipeline. We had UML image, and we will try to inference it using some text prompt and this image of this UML diagram. And we saved it and some evaluation logs. So here we have evaluation for this gold subset, where by what we taken by human evaluator. So we have evaluated it in terms of precision and recall, and its harmonic mean F1 score. And here is key takeaways about this evaluation. In terms of classes, both models are nearly perfect and close. In terms of edges and attributes, it's okay, but it's not so much good. In terms of attributes, we have that result with Gemini is a little bit stronger than GPT. There was a problem that Gemini tries to predict attributes as methods, or GPT did it. It predicts methods as attributes or attributes as methods, and there's the main problem. And sometimes the models didn't get these edges. So here is example of that prompt, and here is a simple case of ground truth image that was given to large language models, and here is compiled plant UML code to image. So we had some plant UML code, we compile it using plant UML. And for example, here we have some problem with class name, the peculiar viewer. Here we also have some problem. Here Gemini includes non-existent edge, and so on. We had these very simple examples. And if we speak about limitations of this approach, we have problem with identifier normalization. We have problem with matching with ground truth that was labeled by human. So I think that's all. Thank you very much for your attention.
Nech sa páči. A tu je.
Dobrý deň.
Hello. So we focused on create a data set where we use the case sequence diagram pairs that are all part of the development, and they describe the process and the behavior of the system based on different views. So it also asks for the acceleration of the development process, but they are not, the data or the data set is not as available to verify the newly emerging tools. So that's why we have decided to create this data set while using AI. Well, it is difficult to find real data that it has use case and as well as a sequence diagram. So we have found one of the pair and then we generated the other part using LLM. Oh, I have lost my images that I have prepared for you. So I will be forced to improvise. The first step was to obtain the data itself, for which we have used the platform GitHub, and we used prompts to gain the data, and then we have the files from which we have filtered the information we needed, then we validate it to find out if it's the correct form and it contains what we need. Subsequently, we input this into a prompt, into an LLM. After that, we have collected metadata in order to document this data set and to document certain attributes. We have chosen an XML format, and for the sequence diagram plant UML, so it can be machine processed, be able to be processed by a machine, but also human readable. The most important step was to create a query the basic building unit was the prompt itself describing what we want to achieve. When the prompt itself is not correct enough, we receive wrong results and the efficiency is quite low. So we have used the scheme that we have created for our use case, and therefore the LLM was able to add the data to it. We have also specified the specific or individual attributes to be able to process the outcome or result better. We have also used a sentence from the publication of writing effects from Conburn that have improved the formulation of the specific use case steps. The outcome or the result was our use case, also what transformation from the use case to sequence diagram. We have used similar methodology, and plant UBL is a similar language, so was able to work with this in a similar way. In GitHub, we had 1,120 pairs, and for one record, we have generated we have worked with several parameters of the LLM that had an influence on how creative this can be. And therefore, we have way more use cases since we have received way more real sequence diagrams. An interesting thing when we were evaluating the statistics, the language model, while transforming the objects from the sequence diagram, it either created only one actor that was the main actor of the specific use case, or there was as many actors as there were objects. So in future, we would like to extend our project, and we would like to add some text analysis and validation while using different LLM that is checking our results. Thank you very much for your attention.
Dobre, takže dobrý deň. Moja téma je teda...
I will talk about exploiting conceptual dictionary for semantic textual similarity.
Čo je? Ako mi to... to. Ďakujem. Naším cieľom je teda...
Our goal is to calculate how is the score of my model in comparison to a predefined model. My model starts in a way that we have two sentences. Based on the sentences, we take out the words and we translate them into the basic form. Then we use the conceptual dictionary in order to establish other connections to create a tree, based on which we create a tree. And based on the similarity, we'll calculate the score, the final score. After that, we aggregate it based on the best match strategy. and after that we gain a specific score. An example to sentences how it looks like, and then there is the score attached to them. How we create a semantic tree. We take a sentence pair and then we create a tree for them individually. We also use synonyms to be able to extend this tree. The structure is quite small in comparison when we use the entire taxonomy. So this can be an example of a tree that is also the result. Then we also have View-Palmer similarity that used the highest common denominator of the both words. So if we have this tree, we try to look for similarity between the words dog and car. So then we climb up the tree till we find their lowest common subsummer, and then based on that we count their final score. Then next, the best match strategy in order to aggregate the score of the data. For every concept from the sentence A, we find the best matching concept in the sentence B. This works for different sentence lengths. Then we look for an average, and then we have our final score. This experiment has been done on the dataset SIG-SK. On the subset, because we only use 7,500 sentence pairs, and thanks to Pearson correlation, we have calculated the score that was 0.3094, and then we have improved the model. We have reached 0.5747. In the future, we would like to improve the tree construction. We would like to also find more relations from the conceptual dictionary to aggregate it better and potentially to combine it with LLMs. We do not use the full taxonomy, as I have mentioned, and we also do not need any training data for this. Thank you so much for your attention.
Hi everyone, I'll be really quick so the others have some time too. My name is Ákos Cire, and our work was about multi-agent software test generation. So, as we have all heard today a few times, LLMs have some problems. For example, we have problems with the context window sizes, with hallucinations, and the requirement for humans in the loop, so the LLMs can get some feedback based on which they can try to correct their mistakes. So the main research question was how to get responses from the LLMs that are grounded in truth, meaning that they have less hallucinations. Our hypothesis was that using knowledge graphs could be the key to this problem. So our first attempt focused on Microsoft's framework called GraphRag, which at first glance generated really complex and deep graphs, but with further evaluation we have found that it has lacked fine-grained details, and it has really high computational costs, and it is highly dependent on the models used to generate and retrieve information from the knowledge graph, which has motivated us to create our custom solution, which is based on graph database called KuzuDB. Our custom solution implements a two-pass approach, meaning that in the first pass, an agent extracts all the entities from the source code. On the second pass, it finds all the relationships between these entities, and this dual-pass approach was shown to be less taxing on the models, and it led to better results than having a single pass in which the agent was tasked to extract both entities and relationships. As for the test generation pipeline, we have separated it into as many steps as we could, which helped us to, again, reduce the stress or the load put on the agents. We have separated this task into a summarization step, in which we have created textual summaries of the source code, which was then used to create knowledge graphs. The next step was to create the test case ideas, from which we have generated the first version of the test described in the summaries. Then it was passed to a validator, which again was just another LLM agent. Then a test rewriter node rewrote the tests based on the validations done by the validator, and this was repeated for all classes. During evaluation, we have found that the tests written by the developers of the ADBC J library had a coverage of about 18%, which was really low. So we have evaluated a simple loop approach, where we have loaded the whole source code into a single agent's context and prompted it to generate tests. This was significantly more achieved significantly more coverage, but our custom approach with the pipeline I have just shown has achieved even better results. It didn't just generate tests with higher coverage, but it also generated more tests, and a higher percentage of these tests were usable, meaning that they had less compilation errors, which shows that the validation step really helped the quality of the outputs. As for future work, integration of static analysis and compilation tools is required to again reduce these compilation issues I have just described. Test execution could also be a very important part of future work, as feedback from test results could again be passed to the validator and could be used to rewrite these tests. Graph extraction has worked very well with the agent approach, although we think that static analysis approaches should also be considered and tested, which could increase not only the quality of the graph, but could also reduce the computational cost of creation and extraction from this knowledge graph. And of course, user interface and tooling should also be developed. Thank you for your attention.
Ďakujem. Ktorá? Dobre, chápem.
Také šívky potom.
Vidím. Dobre. Takže dobrý deň. Dnes bych chcela som predstaviť návrh refactoringu Java.
I would like to introduce the refactoring process. So again, I would like to introduce the design of the refactoring process.
So I would like to describe this system of refactoring. You can see the pipeline workflow on this chart. So we do the code, then the refactoring steps. We do the prompt for LLM, and its response as the refactoring code passes the test, and we check whether it's correct. And an important component is the one that defines the sequence for refactoring. You can see the ordering, you can see the sequence, those and you can see the graph, the diagram that determines the relations between paths. And there is a problem, of course, that if you do path, if the sequence of refactoring is random, it can go wrong in the whole project. And it is about determining the sequence. Here you can see RAG before code and after code. So in the LLM prompt, apart from the code, we can put a refactoring. We can put a code with a similar structural problem. You can see an example. So here you can see basically an example before factoring and refactoring and after refactoring.
Ten test validation.
So this is the test validation. When LLM, when we have the refactoring code, we want to make it correct. We run the test and the compilation. We can generate not only the refactored code, but also to check the correctness, whether it has abandoned the previous behavior of the code. So the main contribution of this work is not only the fact that we use the LLM, but also that we change the workflow of refactoring, and that we also use other tools, and that we also defined various components. As right now, this is a prototype, and we are doing the checking of the functionality of various components, and that is why we are basically doing the future step is the evaluation on real. We want to define the extension of the retrieval cases, that there could be more SML types, and that would be an improved retrieval, and we want to do the automatic testing. So that is all from my side. Thank you very much.
We will need a mic, please. Otherwise, there is no interpretation.
Master degree, kde robí podobnú prácu na refactoring, ale Lidia robila topological sorting a Hagen použil best first search ako jeden z algoritmov na triedenie.
The speaker is not using the mic, so there is no. Okay.
You are work with Mr. Polášek, focused on refactoring codes in Java project. So the goal of our research was to optimize refactoring process of source code. The problem with the refactoring process is that code smells rarely appear in isolation, but developers and current AI tools often fix code smells one by one. And in real project, these smells interact because classes share responsibilities, and fixing one code smells can lead to introducing another one. So LLM can edit code, but the order of edits still matters in this situation. So our goal was to implement some system that will allow to optimize this process by planning a safer order of edits. For that, we used a dependency model originally proposed by Polášek and Markovic, where each smell has some connection to other type of smells in some semantic graph. We use it in our system and track each smell detected by some static tools in source code in a as a node in a graph. This graph have several type of edges. Green edges show cases where when refactoring one smell can automatically eliminate another smell, and red edges show cases where one refactoring may create another. So our system used planning that uses this graph to choose a safer order of actions. The whole processing pipeline goes from extracting source code of Java project, checking the build, test setup, detecting smells with some static tools like SonarCube. It also lets the developer choose target smells. And also we will build smell dependency graph and plan the order of refactorings in this graph, and apply changes proposed by LLM agents in a sequence. So for our system, we proposed and tested two planning algorithms. One was greedy planning approach, where system selects the best looking candidate at the moment. This may lead to bigger problems with the factoring in later time. And best first search, when the system looks ahead and chooses the next step that will lead to the cleanest possible state for the whole code. For our future work, we would like to evaluate more our planning system across some real-world developer-committed refactoring sequences with some datasets, validate dependency rules against empirical trajectories, and measure plan efficiency and improve it, introducing some new dimensions in the evaluating the graph by some additional weights, etc. Thank you.
Tomáš, som naznačil, že káva začala. Máme posledné dve prezentácie. A to je to najlepšie.
Today I will be talking about using behavioral models in software development. For every development cycle, some communication about the structure and architecture of the software system is needed between stakeholders. And one medium how this is done is through UML diagrams. But how do we make these UML diagrams? Most of the tools that are currently available or known are either lack expressiveness or require specialized hardware and software such as VR goggles, and thus have a steep learning curve. So what we are proposing, we take a tool that is widely used, such as Draw.io, and enhance it with a plugin, just a simple plugin that will be compatible with existing workflows, and it will focus on being simple and working or showing something different. So the foundation of our project is an existing prototype called Custom Animations, which we can see here, uses these kinds of commands to animate transitions between elements of the diagram. But as we can see, there are some things that may worsen the user experience, such as we can see, every animation command requires the usage of the element's auto-generated ID, which is not human friendly, so we don't know what that is. Also, we need to paste the animation ourselves, so we have a lot of bloat in the form of the simple wait command. Also, if we want to animate something more complex, such as a loop in a sequence diagram, we have to copy and paste the same animation code 5 times, or if you want to do it 5 times, then 5 times. So what we will do, or we did, is create a custom scripting language, which solves these problems. So what we did, first of all, we simplified and humanized the IDs, which instead of a long string of numbers and letters, we first show what diagram it is a part of, and then we say what element it is. For instance, if we have a sequence diagram where there's a student and a professor, we can just animate first the professor and then the student. And if we want to animate the relation between them, we can do that in a more readable manner using the special character of an arrow. Also, we have removed the need to manually input the wait command. It is automatically done. And we added some control structures such as loops, ifs, and functions and other structures that are commonly found in other languages. So this is the execution flow of our whole project. First, we take the script written by the user and the diagrams. From those diagrams, we extract the whole structure of the components. We tokenize them, so the translation between generated IDs and the human readable IDs is made. And we also need to tokenize this whole program because for the parser we are using PEGI.js, which needs a string input. So because we chose to use a Python-style scripting language, we need to show where the indents, dedents, and the new lines are. This then goes through the parser, and we get an abstract syntax tree, which is inputted into our interpreter, which then creates an animation script, which can then be animated by our UI. Thank you.
Ďakujeme a dovolím si teda uvieť záverečnú prezentáciu a otázky.
So this will be the last presentation, and any questions after the coffee break. So hello, good afternoon. My name is Anna Lenhardova, and with my colleague we would like to talk about animated UML as a gateway to education. And our main motivation is the use of static UML diagrams in the explanation of dynamic aspects of design models, because for students it may be difficult to imagine how certain things work is only based on static diagrams. So we wanted to know whether interactive animation diagrams could help the students to understand these design models, and whether we could reduce cognitive load in the process. For our objective, we used AnimArc. It is a desktop application developed in a Unity. It's a Unity-based tool that interprets executable models, and the diagrams in the system are not just a static designs, but they are also linked to the language, and they can be activated. So as a first step, we created examples from real life so that they could be easily understood by the students. We modeled examples, Milder Bridge, Interpreter, and Observer.
Triedne diagramy. Ďalším krokom
we use these patterns. Then we completed the code in the language, We run it in the AnimArc, and this way we produce animated diagrams. So here you can see a part of the animation from the builder. So whereas students can see different methods and relations between them. And to verify the effectiveness of our approach, we carried out an experiment with 21 students of a master degree as a part of the architecture of a software system study field. And the experiment had two stages. So first, there was the training of these selected patterns, and after that we tested their knowledge, and for that we used cross design. So we divided the students into two groups. Both groups used both approaches. So one where static diagrams and codes were used, and then our innovative approach where the code was replaced by animations. And after analyzing the results, we could see better outcomes when in the other group, when those that use interpreter. And in terms of builder, the statistical outcomes were comparable. And we could observe a strong correlation between the clarity of the animation and the perception of the behavior of the system, which indicates a good potential in the use of these diagrams. On the contrary, there was not a homogeneous curve, a learning curve for these systems. And to conclude, we can say that this research confirmed the justification for the integration of these models in the education of system engineering, although we can see the benefit, especially for behavioral models like observer or interpreter, but we think that this is a good basis for further development. In the future, we would like to expand the library of these design or these suggested models. We would also like to test whether if the students could manage the animation themselves, whether they could understand it better. And we would like to validate this approach on a bigger and more varied group of students. Thank you very much.
Ďakujem. Ďakujem pekne, veľmi zaujímavé.
Thank you very much. It was very interesting. So now the question is whether we have a short coffee break or whether we have questions now. Well, the question is whether there are any questions. I think you wanted to talk to me. Okay, let's go to the coffee break, otherwise they will eat everything. Okay, so enjoy the coffee break. We'll be back in about 15 minutes if you have any questions. And if you don't have any questions, then, well, have a great day.
Tak, dobrú chuť.
Okay, enjoy the coffee break.